it gives me a great pleasure and honor to ask Baroness Warsi to address you.
Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I'd like to thank you, M.A.Hayat, for organising this. And I say all people in this room are actually our distinguished guests. For you to actually sit through an hour of political speeches in this heat really does make you our respected guests. I have 6 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, in which I want to possibly make one point which is of any substance. But I think what's more important than that is I want to make some substantial tributes of my own. People are talking today about how history is being made, but actually in many ways, if you listen to all the speeches that we've heard so far, I'm actually surrounded by history, the making of history on so many, many occasions. I want to first of all pay tribute, and it's always worrying actually, when I picked this up they said it was a tribute to Sayeeda Warsi. That usually means that you present tributes are usually paid right at the end, and it concerns me a little bit, but I want to start really by paying my own tribute to you, Lord Emma. We have known each other for many, many years, and I can say this quite openly, that in many ways I learnt much of my politics from Lord Emma. But there were only two things. One, he never convinced me to be from the Labour Party. And secondly, there is a famous saying in Urdu, कि कभी कभी शागिर्द उस्ताद से ज़्यादा तेज़ हो जाता है. For those of you who don't understand Urdu, what that basically means, sometimes students end up becoming sharper than the teacher. Secondly, I want to pay tribute, I think, to Zach. Zach is absolutely right. When there are so many issues about cohesion in our country, and so many times that issue appears to be between British Jews and British Muslims, it is absolutely correct that every step of the way in my career, from first of all being discovered by Oliver Letwin, to being asked to stand by Michael Howard, to being made vice chairman by Michael Howard, to actually now serving as co-chair with Andrew Feltman, and actually here having tribute paid by Zach Goldsmith. I have had tremendously frank, honest and robust conversations with the British Jewish community, but I can honestly say that every step of the way I have felt that they have stood by me, so I pay tribute to that. Thirdly, I think I'd like to pay tribute to all the parliamentarians that there are around this room. And as I'm looking, honest, and I used to call your father uncle, he used to call me sister. So you have to call me Baji, because the alternative would be awful. Yasmin, who I've known for many, many years, and I remember when you were in the Crown Prosecution Service as well, and I was delighted to see you elected. And I was on the phone. In fact, I couldn't get hold of her for days and days to say congratulations. Shabana, I've heard so much about you, and to actually increase your majority in what was quite a tough fight with lots of issues that you had around community politics. Again, I think it's tremendous that you've been elected this time. Baroness Uddin, when I first came to Baroness Uddin, people talk about my Shalwar Kameez outside Downing Street. Baroness Uddin was wearing Shalwar Kameez in the Lords 10 years ago. You absolutely set the trend for what was happening in politics and Muslim women, and you were the first Muslim woman in Parliament, and I think that we can all pay tribute to that. When you were banging your heads against those doors and you were kicking in those doors, it's much easier for us to then walk through those doors, and I always say that about yourself, Uncle Silver, and Lord Emma. Keith Faz. Okay, it's now a family act, isn't it? David Miliband, Ed Miliband, you and your sister. We never know how these politics are going to play. I think it's so interesting to see how it's going to play out, but congratulations for your sister being elected. And I think it's actually a show of how strong the women are going to become in the years to come. However, you have always been extremely pleasant and honest in our discussions. I think we have known each other now for many, many years. In fact, we've met here, we met in Pakistan as well on a number of occasions. And I think that through very difficult and troubled times, you have stayed a very clear politician. You've been very clear about who you represent, and you've been very clear in your representation of your constituency. And I would never think that I would be looking at you and saying you are now a veteran. You're almost like the father of the house when it comes to Muslim parliamentarians. You know, Sadiq Bhai and I had a conversation many years ago, when you first got elected. And we sat down in Port Colour's house, and Sadiq said to me at the time, you know, it's great that I'm actually elected, but what's even better is you're doing what you're doing, because my daughters are inspired by me because I'm their father, but they're more inspired by you because you're a Muslim woman. And I think that very much set the tone where on numerous occasions when things have been difficult, we have sat down and spoken. And I will actually be contacting all of you, both informally and formally, because I don't think that we have got it all right, or we will get it all right. I think you pay too much tribute to me, so many of you, about saying that we've done this great thing within the Conservative Party where we've managed to engage so many of the ethnic minority communities. Let me say quite clearly, we haven't done enough. We didn't engage enough with all the ethnic minority communities in this country. And this is actually not the end of something fantastic. This is the start of some long, hard work for all of us. And that's the political point that I wanted to make. That actually leadership is not about what you achieve in yourself. It's how you build leadership for years to come. You know, if Uncle Server hadn't have been there, we wouldn't have had the young parliamentarians that we have here. And if we aren't here now, and we don't do something about the younger generations that are coming through, then these things will be remembered as a high moment in ethnic minority engagement and politics, when after that it all went downhill. I'm delighted that in the Conservative Party we've gone from 2 to 11, and that in itself has been a huge achievement. We have both Sajid Javed and Rehman Chishti, who are themselves from the Muslim communities as well. But a lot more needs to be done. And as I said, actually, probably quite controversially before the election, it is absolutely fantastic that we have parliamentarians who are of the Muslim faith. But as Khalid Bhai said, you are first and foremost good parliamentarians. And that's what we must remember. And what is important is that you serve as good, just, principled parliamentarians. That's what we all do. And that actually it's not all pinned upon that faith. And so I am delighted that I actually think, in many ways, the moment has come when ethnic minority politics, I think, has been mainstream. So we're not suddenly doing the brown jobs and whether there's single brown face and we're going to be doing the brown events. But actually, for myself, and I can say this honestly, 10 years ago, you'd gone around the country in certain ethnic minority communities and said, vote Conservative, and you probably got slapped. You'd have got the door slammed in your face. I'm not voting for the Conservative Party. And God, now we see it, that we have, as the party chairman, a British Muslim woman of Asian origin, and most importantly, the daughter of an immigrant mill worker. I think that says a lot about her. A final word to the press. माशाल्लाह जो मेरे प्रेस के भाई हैं, बहनें हैं, बुजुर्ग हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा प्यार मुझे दिया है ये पिछले 1.5 हफ्ते में, हर जगह पे आप लोगों ने मुझे बहुत इज्जत और प्यार और फ़ख्र से आप लोगों ने जो मेरी अचीवमेंट्स हैं उनको बयान किए हैं। लेकिन मैं आपको ये गुजारिश करूँगी कि लोग हमेशा ये कहते हैं कि प्रेस वाले पहले उठा के ऊपर ले जाते हैं फिर उठा के वापस फेंक देते हैं। मेरी गुजारिश होगी आपसे कि मुझ पे बहुत ज़्यादा जिम्मेदारियां हैं, मैं कोशिश करूँगी कि वो जिम्मेदारियां मैं सही तरह से निभाऊँ, लेकिन मैं आपसे भी ये गुजारिश करूँगी कि आप उन जिम्मेदारियों में निभाने के लिए मेरा साथ देंगे, और जहाँ पे मैं सही तरह से उन जिम्मेदारियों को शायद ना निभा पाऊँ, आप एक अच्छे दोस्त की तरह मेरे साथ बैठ के मुझे समझाएंगे कि मैं कैसे बेहतर कर सकती हूँ बनिस्बत के एक सुखी लगाने के लिए या एक स्टोरी बनाने के लिए।